shit when they hear that live drop popping off. Most High, thank you for everything you bestowed upon myself and my family. I ask you for your blessings greatly, and continue to bless and favor the family, the life family, the true family, your babies. It's some water on the lips, man. Woo-hoo. Goodness. If I was a man, I probably wouldn't be worried about another man's lips. I came up in the era of LL Cool J and Malik Yoba. They used to lick their lips effusively all the time. Ain't bothered me. I ain't fucking with them. Anyways, though, we jumping into it, man. This is really serious about the, the dirty South, because there's a lot of shit going on in the world. A lot of things happening, and I know I got the button pusher ready to hurry up and try to mess up the little live, so I got a little backup ready to sit up here. So anyhow, the conclusion that we have came to, as far as like dealing with the sundown towns and it being that how the fear, I'm talking about the sundown towns in the South. I'm from Mississippi, man, so I'm talking about the sundown towns in the South. I was able to go around the world and see the racism portrayed around the world, and able to see, especially in America, the differences, and able to line it up with, just the cluster B personality. And in certain areas and geographical areas of America, there's different types of cluster B personality disorder, pathological white folk, basically. You know what I'm saying? There's pure narcissists at one place. There's pure, psychopaths at other places. There's like a morbid, a mix of them motherfuckers. You got pure sexual white folks in one place and all this shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And pure psychopathic thinking like they own your ass in another place. And the South happens to be one of them type of places, but it's kind of easing up a little bit because they feel like they got the rule a little bit. So people in the world now are feeling like they can treat a nigga like, I'm not saying I'm treated that way. I'm just saying at times certain things are happening, but I'm just saying, treat them like they're a subhuman type shit. But that's far from the truth, because ain't nobody else invent shit really, like for the world. Like, I don't know nobody else's uncle that invented anything for us to benefit ourselves. Let me do it now. So that's all stuff, man. So yeah, as far as like dealing with the South, you got to understand these when you're dealing with some gangster shit, you're dealing with sheriffs that have the power to deputize, and they are the ones who allow this shit to happen. Whether it's an individual dying in the custody, and we're talking about the South. This happens to the North too. But, I give my condolences to the family of the man who transitioned in the cell or whatnot. We seen it was a brother. We don't know the science and the spirit contract that brother had with the Most High, but I want for all our life bodies and our life family to be on point and online at this time in existence, because this is truly wartime, people. Hey, what's happening? Said no hablo tatario or something like that. I don't know if you said tatario. But anyhow, so when we're dealing with these, we've been still in our peaceful state. So now the veil is slipping off a little bit. Now we're seeing who the enemy truly is. We done came up over, cocaine, crack, and all these different things that went into the homes of the cities as well as the South. And I was kind of heartbroken when they went to the South, because I'm like, damn, we was all natural down there. Because I lived in Minneapolis and Chicago, so I already knew how the shit was gonna go down when we get in our fully mental, sickness state type shit, where we just started only hurting each other. But some of us got our shit together, and we was trying to link up and click up and, have schools. There was like vice lords that had schools, but that was legitimate, that you could actually go to that school and get the diploma and everything from the credibility from that school. I went to those type of schools. These brothers had vice lord schools, the leaders and all that shit. But, police, we had a strict thing where when we had to travel the neighborhoods, whereas the police could only, they really couldn't mess with us if we was like 4 deep, And so being that we was 4 deep, they'll just shine that light on us and shit. But we like 4 deep. They got 2 cars or something like that. We had the ones that was Cagney and Lacey and another couple dudes and shit. Remember, you remember the numbers and shit of the cars, like 333 or 332 and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And you'll know them when they try to swoop on you. and they only fuck with young kids, you know. And so I came from the time when they transitioned from throwing the baton at a motherfucker, from chasing a motherfucker to throwing the baton to shooting at a motherfucker. You know, and we used to love running from the police. Why you think you hear Tupac talk about the police all the time, like running from the police? Because they used to chase us and we get away. But then they started throwing shit at us. You know, it was like not playing around. We were only like 13 and shit. So in the sundown towns where individuals, they kind of like already know who individuals are. And so when you're dealing with sheriffs that's down there, you have to be a little bit more strategic. You know, when I'm talking about strategic, you know, because we're going to travel to sundown towns. And I'm talking about pull up like we're going to pull up like a motherfucker, but everybody got to be up on their kundalini. Because at a state where, you know, where we're like only a couple months up and we're like men, we got to be pretty high up where it's like, you know, we're not really giving a fuck. You still can smoke weed. That don't make you lazy or nothing like that. But leave weed with, you know, releasing your light, that'd do a little something. So anyhow though, going to the, hey, what's happening? What's going on, y'all? What's good? Peace. That's some long names. I want to say the names. Appreciate it. It says number 2, number 3. I can only say it like that because I see and you know, with the crown and stuff like that. I see the apple, all that good stuff. Thank you for jumping up in here. You know, so with the sundown towns in the South, you know, America, because that's where a lot of lynchings and a lot of things that went down. They tried to really terrorize brothers and niggas and shit. Basically, out here they call it black folks brothers. You know what I mean? They respect it like brother. You know, here nigga. And out here, that it means that somebody brought it here. Because the hate doesn't exist out here on that level. So that means it was brought. But anyways, though, in the South, where these sundown towns is at, these sheriffs, where if we were strategic, these are the ones you really got to go at. Because those are the ones that are allowing this shit to go down. You know? And they got the power to deputize. So it's really tight. It's a gang thing. The Most High kind of like clearing the battlefield and shit. You know, we really can't stand for a lot of this shit to go down. We know it's the spiritual things that go on with the boys or the children. They're young men, really. Some old and whoever they choose to make examples of out of innocence, just walking around. We don't know what the Most High know, but from the form of the mortal sense that we see, that can be, that could be a form of, that could be a form of just, basically trying to attack the innocence on our realm, to be like, like they want to attack us because we see it as innocent, but we don't know what happens behind the spiritual thing. But at the same time, Mosiah is also using us as an example for the world, And as you see with the cluster B personality, we're going to leave these mugs in here because nigga means king. So, you kind of look foolish when you say nigga. So when y'all, in the world you hearing all our music, we're basically saying kings to each other and shit. White folks didn't even come up with the word nigga, And so that's where the gaslighting and the projection with the cluster B personality disorder that you most likely have to try to hurt feelings shows and prove the insecurity and depth of your invalidation or of your own self and worth, of your own self-worth. So in order for you to just gaslight and project like that, and we don't even care how old you is, because we see grown men get to a certain stage, if they're like 70 years old and still be 10 years old. Example, they call him the president now. And I'm not saying that he is like that, but that's what they say. So that's just equivalent to, white tea or white folks in general. They're the only ones that reported murder, death, kill on film, on picture. They didn't get it on video. We don't know. We haven't seen videos yet, but we've seen pictures. And with them looking, so we know these genes are still around, and they're still walking around in the South and so-called sundown towns. So we will ask, in a formal state to be like, hey, would you just leave this place according to the area of what shit's that been transpired down here with our ancestors and the things of that nature, and your forefathers that came over and pillaged and didn't want to live in a right and exact humane society. Hey, what's happening? And just being in a humane environment where we live by agriculture, and the science of the zodiac, which is the stars and how they aligned up and how we plant our seeds and reap our harvests. But apparently there's some underneath things that were going down when you're dealing with that diagnosis until now, because now we can actually look it up in the ICD-10 medical terminology book type shit, So now we know. So it ain't like, oh, these motherfuckers just got problems. They came over and started fucking with us. Like, nah, motherfucker, these motherfuckers made incubators. That means that they don't even have a sense of awareness of who they truly are and where they came from. Hence, all their movies come from, where did the humans come from? shit like that. Like, nigga, we was born, we come out of the elements, which are basically crystals, when we crystallize on to the plane or being at a density level that where we at right now. This is what niggas do. We're etheric, you know what I'm saying? Man, they grow on like a big fruit tree, which is like basically a diamond, and they just like hatch type shit, like the first ones. It ain't just like, it ain't like they just come into existence like we just use our ancestors. They know who our ancestors are. We Ethereans, meaning that they know that our ancestors came from somewhere else. We like universal blood donors and shit. That's why they like our blood. You go to the hood, you see these motherfuckers, they don't even care about AIDS or HIV. They just want you to come through them to get that blood and shit. They don't even test you for none of that shit. They just want you to give it. Why? Because you most likely, you know what I'm saying? You got that O positive or O negative, whatever. You're a blood giver. You know? So anyhow, though, but with the whole little situation of leaving the South, we kindly asked to be like, yo, leave the whole South. You know what I mean? I'm from Mississippi. So, you know, we kindly asked to leave the South. Like, yo, would you leave the South with all with the shit that goes down? We have unsolved mysteries. We got books that's written upon things that there was slavery in those times. You know, we actually, our women breastfed your babies. Did y'all know that? Rest of the world? That niggas, mamas, sisters, all that. Breastfed, so-called master. But it's not the real master, it's a Hebrew word. We was Hebrew. We are Hebrew. So that's a whole different thing. I had to break down the word master for you. If you got time, just Google it now. So you'll see what's up. Or you ain't gotta say the word Google, whatever search engine that you got. You know, we did a lot of things. They didn't know how to cook. They didn't even know how to eat their food. They didn't know how to prepare their food. They didn't know how to skin their food. They didn't know a lot of things. So we kind of trained them to a point where that Africans or European Moors from the other side of the pond, they're like, damn, they got these motherfuckers. We dancing, they playing guitar like us now. You know, even the ones that come from Europe, they just like, they never was a part of the whole slave ownership. They come over and they just like, damn, they just impressed to be around rock and roll type niggas who's showing them how to play certain riffs and giving them examples and shit so they can be able to tap into some type of spiritual sauce that they got, you know what I mean? But now it's like, you know, they took everything and blood sucked it. When they took Elvis, they took all that shit from niggas. We know a woman wrote a lot of Elvis's songs, but she didn't get credit for it. It was a nigga. Well, black woman was playing the guitar, man. You know, it's a lot of things that happen that nobody want to even talk about. We saying the word black, but basically it's the true American Indian. And we're not hating on the Native American that has their reservations, man. I always wanted to deal with the Native American that had their reservations. You know, in Minnesota, man, in Minneapolis, we had, like I said, it was all vice lords, so it was vice lord, GDs and shit like that, Bloods, Crips and everything, but everybody had their little sex words, just little hoods. But the vice lords was pretty deep because they had schools on both sides of the city. You know what I'm saying? So if you was gang banging, you couldn't go home, your mama on dope and shit like that, you had a place to go to. And if you couldn't go to sleep, you got a arcade and get some food across the street from the school, you know? And because that's how we had to look out for each other. And the police didn't really like that we was really looking out for each other like that. So we weren't killing each other. There was no lords killing GDs like that. There was no lords killing lords. You know, when it was foolish niggas killing foolish niggas. That was really much it until dope really hit the scene all the way. And it wasn't over money too much even. People wasn't really killing over money. It was just the fact that they had the juice and shit like that happened. But anyhow, you know, we became like this under, you know, our so-called, you know, people that we were basically civilizing because, you know, they didn't know how to do a lot of things. You know, I mean, a whole lot of things, but they kind of ran out their welcome with all of the situation, the shit that you see. But they took over. We allowed them to get into our family. They took over our plantations, our farms. You know, they made us prisoners of war on our own farm. You know what I'm saying? And we were cool. The whole thing is like, how could you do that to a person that walked up and was cool? Even took the picture with you beforehand, like, man. That's God, man. And when you do that to God's people, and we ask you now to leave, you ain't gonna want to leave when you're forced to leave. And it seems like you're gonna have to be forced to leave because when you're dealing with a cluster B personality disorder type individual, narcissistic, sociopathic person, you gotta leave them alone all the way around the board. I'm talking about not even doing business with them, man. I'm talking about it's a lot of brothers who like to fish in the South. Well, but now we got brothers on YouTube now that's fishing. We're gonna fuck with hood fishing now. Shout out to hood fishing. He got a pole, he got some shit, you know what I'm saying? And it's a couple other brothers too. We're gonna fuck with them, we're gonna buy their merch. Cause we all can fuck with each other and make our shit multiply. I don't even eat meat, but you know, just because Brother Les barbecue, getting with the moxtails and shit, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Les, you know, just the fact that he's doing something positive and the Most High's got his hand on him, it's just, hey, if you eat that, fucks with the bro. You know what I mean? Because we are multiplied, but he has to be able to put his money into a situation where they can plan with other individuals who has the same amount and can deal in social equality with each other to make something happen in a neighborhood. And hence, that'll make individuals put in that work now. We're not in that certain stage where we don't want to do the work no more. This is why with them sundown towns, you want to claim back, because your ancestors live down there. They putting in the work in the ethers. We don't really have to do it. All we have to do is just be us, show up, you know, and we got to show up strong, you know. And how to do that is through that celibacy and that semen retention. You get stronger, training, exercising, working out. I don't care, whatever you do to kind of tame the mind, the thoughts, you know, you're a man, you know, so you got testosterone growing in you. So every day is new and every day is a beautiful day. If you're not jacking off and shit, you know, that you become sad and depressed and kind of relapse, and you know, you just you succumb to the weakness of the Lord yourself, the bowels of yourself. You want to get up at least past that 4th month, you know what I mean? We're trying to get everyone up to that 12th month. Everyone who's, even the Black Panthers, I see there's a lot of brothers that's jumping into the game, a lot of Black Panthers in the game. We definitely want to get a shout out, salute to bros, because you know, you got to know your law and all that stuff. But however, we have to be able to come together and put something down to be able to get this land, because there's more than just coming together and being able to bear arms and hold guns and shit. That's not really the way to do in this world right now. You know what I'm saying? We got angels and things, we got ancestors doing what they do. Pretty much what we have to do is be able to come together in a business mindset, like a form of fashion where we're putting the Most High first. And the only way to do that is to show the sacrifice of the celibacy of like relinquishing sex, pretty much. That could be a punishment to motherfuckers now. That could be a punishment to people who really enjoy that free liberty of having orgasms, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you can't be intimate. Your intimacy will grow even stronger. Your heart and your love will grow even stronger. This is how you power and work out your heart. You can't work your heart out if you keep busting nuts and shit, you know? So, and also you lose a lot of vitamins and shit that you really have, and you kind of, you know, and all these little, you age your skin fast. You don't want all that shit. And plus you be lower in your aggression when you need to defend yourself. You won't be able to defend yourself as good as you want to, as you need to. And so that's not what it is. And plus when our women see us doing it, you know, they look up to us, they reflect us. That's not shit. They'll put it into activation. We'll see it in this most beautiful form, like, damn, that's what's up. Because she looks beautiful when she's like, you know, celibate too. She's meaner. You know, she's not giving that pussy away. You know when the chick ain't giving that away, she mean, G. That's how you want her. Mean, G. You know what I'm saying? Like hard, nigga, you know what I'm saying? There's more ways to give her an orgasm. You ain't gotta stick your divine eye inside of her. You can actually give her orgasms, like this is your girl, externally. Find ways. You can hold her stuff like a fruit, like, you know what I'm saying, with the come hither mode. You know what I mean? And it's a little spongy thing behind it. You can give her that. She has orgasms for you guys. Y'all can manifest things together throughout her orgasm. She's small to orgasm. You don't have to do that. You can still be licking all over. Now she knows she's able to be licked over and shit. Now you're not able to be able to discard her so quickly with your cluster B personality disorder after busting a nut of idolizing her and then devaluing her and discarding her. That's the quickest way to understand, to see the understanding of what the cluster B is, because you idolize a woman quick like that. You idolize her. After you bust that nut, you started to devalue her right then, and then it's like, or you busting a few nuts and shit, you're getting used to her, then you discard her and go and try to get another supply source. You know, that's because you're low in your light. You won't be able to appreciate the gifts that she has, because as women, black women, especially, they're deeper. You know, they got spirits. You know, you fucking a foreign chick a little bit, they haven't been through what you've been through. A lot of foreign chicks, they only know how to ride you back, and you know, because they just see some shit or whatever, or they may think that's what you like. But a sister, they kind of do that type of shit. If she's the type, she'll do it anyways. You know what I mean? They're a little bit more on the power of you. They, you know, whereas other individuals in the world, they kind of do head, and it's a little different. Now they understand that, you know, it's vitamins in that head. But a sister is different though. She's with you, so it's like, you know. But you're the leader, and if you're the leader, then you know She don't even want to be the leader. She is, but she'll try to take the lead, knowing that she ain't supposed to be the leader. So in order for you to take the lead to get back into the position, celibacy, you got to get that celibacy game back up, because all of that sexual energy is everywhere over right now. It's all over and shit, G. But once you get it into condensed, we all in condensed form. We all cool. We like, yo, peace, God, peace, God. Peace of the earth, peace, guys. Because they can say it now without having to underneath and shit. You can get with a female now without having to underneath little, mode of idolizing her secretly and shit, like worshiping her, because that's an unhealthy, toxic way of dealing with her and shit. If it's dealing with life in general, you take life like that, yeah, you'll go through a lot of experiences, and to the average person who don't do a lot of shit, they'll look at you in amazement like, damn, that person does all this shit. Oh, man, I wish I could be doing. In reality, you have a personality disorder, and you need to be doing a whole bunch of shit every day because you forget. You don't know how to. You need something to fulfill you and validate you on a constant basis. That's why it's important for niggas just to look at themselves real fast and shit, so you don't be yes man and be send-offs and shit. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of niggas sitting in the joint because they send-offs. Sometimes being around a send-off. You be sitting down around these motherfuckers, you ain't even had nothing to do with this shit. You just there like, huh, me too? Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? You was there. They find a way, you know what I'm saying? And so they know this. And so by the time, you get enlightened, you already, you're for yourself now. You weren't able to be able to share this with your family. Like, yo, because you naturally became celibate after a while, or unless you just kept fucking while you was in the joint and thought about some shit. Because a lot of people kind of stop after a while when you like trying to better yourself in ascension. Like there's something else. It's more than just getting this money, stacking it, putting it on the house, and paying all this shit. It's slick ways of finding a way of putting it in the house and paying the least amount and all that shit. Yeah, of course. But there's something about this energy that makes life more fulfilling. And it's a reason why they attack niggas a little bit more, because they don't learn how to utilize this energy for the beneficial of themselves and people to bring happiness just through a vibe alone. But you don't have that vibe that's really happy because we've been low and been molested in our spirits and our people, genealogically, spiritual-wise, soul-wise, and all that. You know what I'm saying? So now these people market their women as sluts to niggas now. Meaning that we got women for black men type shit. And we already know white folks already been showing they women as sluts. That is a wholesome, good woman, sometimes they do. And our women just says, fuck it, I just can be like, that could be a bad bitch in them, bitch, I'm a bad bitch, I do it all, give me all of this, bitch. Like, damn, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that. You don't show us all like that. No, but now we all know each other's hand and shit, but it's about time for us to get back up. So with them like I say, we're going back to them sundown towns, because it does require celibacy and strength, without having to go through there on the intention of doing something offensive. Just going through chilling, pulling up. You Black Panthers, we just pull up. We can't travel no less than 5 deep now. We in the car, yeah, we're gonna drive from 10 to 6 at night. 10 in the night, 6 in the morning. How many times you get pulled over? You know what I mean? You riding by yourself at night, yeah, of course you're gonna get pulled over by a state trooper, to police on the highway. They ain't supposed to pull your ass over, but they just got the balls and the nuts to pull your ass over anyway. They love to lip wrestle, because why? Most of the motherfuckers is gay. They worshiping you any goddamn way just to get that close to you. And the only way they can talk to a nigga is to have a strap, or a talk dirty is what we call it. You gotta have a talk dirty to talk to a nigga, man. You know what I mean? So they got to talk dirty like, yeah, so what you got over there? Huh? What you say? Yeah, let me see, man, just go ahead and let me see the motherfucking ID. You heard me, nigga. Let me see the ID. It's like, damn. It's the only way you can talk, because nigga be like, no, nigga, you can't talk to me. Oh, I can't talk to you. You resisting arrest. I was arrest? I thought you was just chopping it up. Then next thing you know, you just lip wrestling with a borderline personality disorder motherfucker who probably wants to suck your dick on the side type shit, but they're just doing things with you just to get energy from your ass, like Kundalini, to even make them have a fucking orgasm later on that night after booking your ass. They can go home and bust a nut because they had you handcuffed and shit. They be busting nut in the car thinking about the shit. You done with sick motherfuckers, man. And when anytime you're around motherfuckers like that, it rubs off. It's like the shit that's with the fruit, with the little peachy fuzz that sit next to the other fruit for so long and shit. Now I got that little tardy shit on the other fruit too. It's like, oh man, you been next to that motherfucker too, man. You infected, dog. Oh man, shit like that. And so 4 of us will go over there to the sundowns. Like I say, we just pull up. We ain't got no bad intention. We chilling. Like, hey, what's up, man? you know, you get triggered just from the presence of who? Us? That's sad because on your end, because now you don't belong here. You can't tell nobody this. You know what I'm saying? We're not even going to argue. We don't even have to talk. You know, really with men, you don't really have to have an argument no more. You got to understand where certain men, when they argue with you at, you got to notice the location. Like sometimes it's in public. Like, so most of the time it's in public so everybody else can see, so you can react. You know what I mean? It's like a trigger thing for you and shit. They know that shit. Just to line it up, it's called cluster B personality disorder. You know what I mean? On both of you. So they hoping that you got the shit too. But if it's in private, best know they got some type of talk dirty, or they just don't even give a fuck, or they got some type of sly shit up their sleeve where they hoping, where they like, you know, had that poker face where they got something where they think, they make you think they got something, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? It's either or. And if they got it, then they got it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, as if you're in private, you know. Even in public, I mean, everybody can see that, you know. So anyhow, man, because enough is enough with a lot of things, man. Children, college kids, man. These people gotta come home. They boy didn't even think nothing like that would ever happen. They live their whole life, man, and the next thing you know, some shit like that happen. These people, you know, with a sociopath and psychopath and histrionic and borderlines, everything is premeditated. It's nothing that just on the fly and shit. Like, you're not like an empath, but you can just like adapt and be a highly adaptable motherfucker and shit. You know, everything is pre-planned, you know, and premeditated and studied down to the T type shit. You know, and then the move is made. Whether it's quick, some of them are so psychopathic that the move can be studied so cold they can kind of map out what you finna do without even having feeling with it. And this nigga's like that too, but we got the feeling to go along with it. But you're dealing with individuals who got feeling spirits on them and all of that shit, man. Who want to do the whole little murder, death, kills, and all these different things. And yeah, you just got it. We got it now. It's like, yeah, man, we rolling through the sundown town, speed 10-6, man. You know, I know in the South it's a little different than niggas from the North. You know, we've been around. We know what's up. You know, I've been around with police. I know how police pull a nigga over, take my motherfucking car. I know when they gonna take it. I can feel the energy. You know, if I ain't got the insurance, because you know we had to learn certain ways to keep our car. Like, as long as the car insured, nigga, hey, I come back and get my shit. You know, we had to save the car, motherfucker. You know what I mean? And go ahead and get the fuck out and walk down the way. Send somebody back with a license or something. And get the license because they know if they give you a license, they got a way to give you a daggone record just because you have a moving violation. Now you got the ticket. Now you got to show up to court, and you don't show up to court. Now the warrant hits. So that's why they always be on your ass so motherfucking fast and quick. Because they're like, yeah, what's your shit, nigga? Because we know you driving, motherfucker. You ain't a squeaky clean driving motherfucker, dog. Hold up, what you doing? What you doing? No, you got a moving violation. I know you do, and I know you got a warrant for missing one of them goddamn court dates. I know you ain't that swift. You know what I'm saying? That's why getting a permit is cool. You know what I mean? Because at the point, I got the permit. Anything else, you would have signed your rights over and shit. Just pull up, and them motherfuckers be like, I got the permit, man. And like, car insured though, man. And like, He was pissed. I know they probably found a way around it by now, but that's how it was when I was coming up. You know, I had to dress a certain way, driving and shit like that. But now it's like, yo, man, we're not allowing these people to violate our friends and family and people who look like us, who went through the hell like us, and we don't know what they got going on with the Most High. But man, it's at a point where we have to have some type of unity in the community and being able to, you know, have some type of place of coming together. And through like a trail ride is one of the most important things to do. More important, best ways to unify, you know, because now we got to read, now we got a way to come together, now we got something to come together on. Now we can speak on something because now we got all the niggas in the bush, in the jungle together, basically, you know, in the depths with all the angels, with all our ancestors. Now we all right there in the Mississippi mud. We all got the Mississippi mud. We already, you know, listening like, yo, man, you can't. How long you gonna stand for this, man? And not being able to travel, shit like that. And it's not that you're gonna go being able to revolt and have anarchy and shit. You just not going to be able to participate in any of their business no more, you know? As far as like dealing with business, like, yo, we're not shopping. We have to be really particular in where we shop in real life. You can't allow your lower vibratorial senses to want to shop at certain places. We did a good job with Target. I know, understand that, you know, some people, we go to Target and shit like that. But however, when it gets to a certain level, we're like, man, well, now we got to have our own store. If we done already took back from their shit, I'm sure that there's going to be even a few thousandaires that can come together. And even if, I mean, I'm pretty sure the dough's going to come back pretty soon, but I'm just meaning, like, even if we got money right now to establish something, a foundation, we have our own stores and shit, something that is like a Walmart. And there's a lot of Walmart places that's like Walmart that's around the world. There's places in Kenya, I forgot what his name, Nia or something like that. But there's places that is like Walmart, you know, and you can just ship through. You can make your own shit. You know what I mean? Have your little own Dollar Tree section or whatever. You know, we have our own shit. And then, of course, that opened up jobs in the community for the young teenagers, and that's what we really want. And basically, we won't go hungry if we're focusing on our agriculture, chilling, having a good time. Because what else would you want to do? Would you want to go stack some boxes and shit at a warehouse? If them boxes ain't the boxes of our shit that we're shipping out to the rest of the world, and then people want to get a taste of our water that was touched and made by our children, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, they gotta accept it as is what it is. I don't want to hear no underneath shit. You know what I'm saying? If they want to do that, then I understand. Yeah, we be in our own warehouse and we stacking our own shit up. Yeah, you know. Other than that, we shouldn't have to be in another foreign person's warehouse and shit. We got our own garments now, and until we make our own garments, we can trade with individuals, companies, or countries that got their own garments. When they say made in Thailand, we just trade with the Thailand motherfuckers. They've been pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? If we haven't sat down and had a formal talk or conversation with, you know, China, we will have to do that. But in order for us to do that, we have to get organized in our spiritual, our kundalini and repenting energy, because that'll bring us all to an even playing field and get us away from that big I, little you type of shit. Whereas, you know, some of us are kind of accomplished in the conscious community or on social media or just whatever, you know what I'm saying, or whether they're authors or whatnot. But this will bring us to an equal playing field or on the same page. So now we can be able to see what we can do next, you know, and then we'll know, like, okay, because some of us may only have, you know, $100. One of us may have $1,000. So that $100 is not the same as the person. He can't give is what the same as the person who's $1,000 can give. That $1,000 person can give $100, where that $100 motherfucker can only give about $10. You know, so it's the same type of difference. What's up, Doug? And we'll find our medium. You know what I mean? So when we're investing in certain materials, and of course everybody comes into the land. Of course they had to, you know, sacrifice to show that they've been celebrating, especially as men, because you know when a man is at that point, you're going to feel the energy from him. You're going to feel happy. You're going to feel joyful. You know, then we bring in certain things. Nobody's going to be able to destroy our shit, dog. You know, but we will have to go around to the for those of us who are in the sundown towns, or, you know, they want to make you afraid of not being able to travel, not being able to drive down the way. We're going to have an escort service, Pete. Well, we drive, we pick up the food, whatever it takes, at whatever time of night, whatever it needs. You know, when into the zone, we have to have at least four months. If you're NFC, we got to have some type of, or Black Panther or something. We got to have our own little, you know, stops along the way where we post. And if, you know, mugs will come out, they will try to come deep and do ambushes and shit, but that's when you know they showed the hand. You know what I'm saying? That's when you know, yeah, it's real, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Because there's no way that a person should be able to have to live their life and just fear, not even fear, but just uncomfortableness of going to the store. We already have to do it in town, in the cities and shit, because you never know, you're dealing with all kind of spirits and shit. Motherfuckers may flip off and do something. You know what I mean? You have to move accordingly, way. Your spirit has to be a certain way when you're in the city. So it's the same way in the South. And, you know, being that they had favor by other spirits that they were brought with, because these people were made in laboratories. These mothers are psychopaths for real. So with each one of them, it was easier to attach 5 jinn to their ass, or 5 jujas to them, who just basically motherfuckers who just never really lived a corporeal life, a physical life. Some of those spirits were aborted before childbirth and don't even know the science of physical nature, you know, and how to grow and things of that nature. And some did and still had the jealousy, the envy, things that was attached to earth, you know, not letting that go and not choosing to let it go. And these beings are just attached to these recessively melanated mugs, man. And that's how they was able to, you know, pretty much run amok on a mug along with the, you know, the spell work, because it was jumped, it was tag, it was more of a tag team, more than a tag team. That's right. So, but right now the bill's on up, man. We telling ancestors doing what they do. They meet them halfway. I don't want to hold it up too long, but we're gonna get, you know, NOI, of course, false prophets. None of them don't. You know, I'm gonna wrap it up, but they weren't focused on things that you're supposed to be focused on. You know, orphanages and stuff like that, getting niggas up out of the daggone system. you know, and pairing up the parents with the right individuals if you can, with the right races or right, you know, ethnicities if you can. Because it's not all of them the same, but at the same time, the black man of America, or, you know, just the real nigga, man. You know what I'm saying? You know who I'm talking about if I say that. They're the father and mother of civilization, the black man and black woman. This is the father and mother of civilization. So to have them in anyone's hand really will be in the total opposite of what we see now with the so-called European Caucasian. So everything is beginning to balance back out. The Gentiles had their way with you, you know what I mean, for a season. And they was going to do that. So now the season, the time's up, though. Everything's up now. So all we have to do is be us and get that Kundalini up. Sundown towns, you know, we got to take everybody about. We got a whole new educational system we have to go. Any niggas that want to side with them, let them go with them. We know they can't really be infiltrating anything because we don't have a unit as far as like a building headquarters and nothing like that. This is just us being able to cultivate our connection with the Creator. You know, but I'm saying for those who are with the NFC and the Black Panther, you know, of course we're not offensive, and everyone knows that they're not offensive. None of those organizations are not offensive. But we ask you to get more discipline, you know what I'm saying, if you choose to be the Army or be the defense of true American niggas, or true foundational Black Americans, or Ninja, or whatever you want to call it until we get to that point. Because all our representatives will start to come to play at these points, and there won't be people who was already exposed in the previous cycle as such that was supposed to be our, you know, representative. They don't have no connection or ties genealogically unless it's something to clean it up to give us our shit back, you know. So yeah, with that being said, we ask just for more discipline and for men to be, you know, a celibacy a year more so. You know, the aggressiveness needs to be there as far as like, you know, as far as on defense, because they're gonna offend. They're gonna offend you, and they already been offending niggas. You don't have to fight, but you sure do have to defend and shit. You know what I mean? So I know mothers watching the people doing analysis stuff right now, like, man, this my. Thanks, man. Of course, they try to disrupt, you know. Alright, I love y'all. I'll be with you in the next one. Peace. Hug a loved one, man. Just hug someone, man. They try to keep us away from hugs. You better hug somebody. I love y'all.